Our series begins with a young man named John, who is repairing a device when his sister Young interrupts him. He quickly puts the book in front of him, pretending to study, but she confronts him because she knows he's making fun of them and not studying. Their father intervenes as usual. We learn that he takes care of them and the house since their mother's death, working as a cleaner. At the same time, a young man named Ran wakes up and starts his daily routine. He's obsessed with cleanliness due to his germophobia, so he cleans everything multiple times before using it to ensure it's clean. Young goes to work, buys breakfast while walking, and accidentally bumps into Ran's car, leaving a mark on it. He's shocked, so she apologizes and hurries away. Later, we see him at a conference explaining how his cleaning company works and how new devices will soon be available that will clean everything so well that they won't need manual cleaners anymore. Young, meanwhile, is at her job cleaning the restaurant and overhears the conference. After it ends, Rand goes to a prearranged date with his mother's matchmaker, who looks very neat until he notices a dog hair. He quickly applies sanitizer and covers the food he's holding before she sneezes. At night, they sit together, and he complains about the strange day he had. So his mother enters and asks him what's wrong. He feels embarrassed, answers briefly, and leaves her. He explains to her what happened, and at that moment, his device, which he was working on, gets outside the house because his mother left the door open. So he goes to close it, but discovers that his device is missing. He and Kim start searching for it, and they find it downstairs because she's working as a delivery person at night to earn money and help her parents with expenses. She initially thinks someone threw it away and puts it in her bag. He arrives and thinks she's the customer who ordered food. He feels she's full of germs. So he sprays sanitizer on her. She sneezes and falls to the ground. He apologizes and leaves money for her on the floor, quickly walking away, surprising her with his behavior. She takes the money and calls the restaurant to report. Then, she goes to catch a ride but finds the fare expensive. She notices a guy on a motorcycle that seems ordinary and assumes he's a cheap taxi. She approaches him, and he's shocked because he's not a taxi driver at all. However, he agrees to take her when he learns she'll pay him $5. He drops her off in her neighborhood, and she pays him while walking. She feels someone is following her, and she finds him, thinking he's a thief, until her father comes to catch up with her, accidentally bumping into him and causing him to fall. They take him home, and her father tells her that the guy is their neighbor, Leon, who just returned from a trip and will be their neighbor for a while. She's not pleased with his return and doesn't welcome him. She enters her room. She finds out that the cleaning company accepted her, and she's thrilled. Later, Kim calls Ron and tells him that they're offering a reward for whoever has the device. He confirms he has it. At night, John enters his sister's room and finds the device, taking it happily, especially after seeing the reward advertisement. The next day, he calls Ran, disguises his voice, and tells him he has the device. They arrange to meet, and at night, Young's father feels unwell and can't go to work. So, she goes in his place to clean, and some guys hassle her and throw trash at her. She shouts at them, but notices one of them, Jack, who is her classmate and whom she admires. She tries to hide from him, but the guys chase her, with Jack among them. She accidentally bumps into Rand's car while he's meeting her brother for the device, causing the contents of her trash bin to fall on his car. He gets annoyed, sprays sanitizer, removes the box, hiding her face, and some bystanders record the incident. Young feels embarrassed and gives him her number to pay for damages. She takes the trash bin sadly and leaves. John witnesses what happened and decides not to answer calls, planning to take revenge. Rand goes home, retrieves some footage from street cameras, and discovers that Young took the device. He thinks she's trying to scam him. The next day she meets them, and he hands her some papers with car cleaning rights. She finds that the compensation she'll have to pay is too much for her. She gets out of the car, and he asks her where his device is, but she doesn't understand. So he shows her the video, and she retrieves the device from the street. She assures him not to worry and that she has it. He tells her to return the device to him and he won't take her money for the car repair, and he'll even give her the reward. She asks, "Reward for what?" He replies that she won't find it funny and that someone called him, disguising their voice, and said they have the device, so surely that person will be her partner. Young realizes that it was her brother John who did this. She goes home and argues with him. Then her childhood friend Mina arrives, who becomes a mediator between them. Ron goes to talk to the manual cleaning department manager at his company and asks him not to hire Young. The manager refuses, saying they contacted her to give her a chance at least, as she impressed them during the interview. Ran agrees, but as the manager leaves, he recalls his bad memories with his grandfather and how he's the reason for the illness he suffered after Young. Jack sends Young a message asking for her help, which she gladly accepts. She meets him, and he asks her to do an advertisement for a restaurant that serves spicy food. She shoots the ad and eats the spicy food without stopping, even though it's very hot. After filming, she goes to the bathroom feeling exhausted. When she comes out, she overhears Jack talking to his friend, saying he's taking advantage of her feelings for him to help him at work. This upsets Young, and she goes to him, and he gives her a very small amount of money and a meal, which she refuses to accept and walks away feeling sad. She goes to meet Ran at the company to give him the device, but he, as usual, avoids touching her and sprays his sanitizer. As she walks away, she feels dizzy. He quickly lays something in his car and asks for help from a passerby there. She assists him and carries it, putting it in the car. He sprays sanitizer on it and takes it to the hospital. The nurse tells him that she's exhausted because she ate and that he needs to go pay the hospital bill. He goes, but wears a mask and gloves. He asks the receptionist for the patient's card, then goes to the room again, opens her bag, and takes it. He stays with her all day until her family contacts him. Ran gets up and leaves. The next day, when she wakes up, she finds Leon with her, taking care of her and feeding her. When she recovers, she goes to the company excited to start her job. She goes to her office and organizes it. Then she goes to Rand's office to thank him for helping her and taking her to the hospital. While washing his hands, he overhears her talking to her friend in the bathroom, expressing her desire to get closer to him despite her flaws, which he assumes means she likes him. He thinks their first meeting wasn't a coincidence and that she planned it all. As she leaves the bathroom, unaware that he overheard her, she says goodbye and leaves. The next day, at work, Rand sees the new disinfectant the company is producing. Suddenly, he sees her wiping the glass of the room. The glass allows him to see outside only when he presses a certain button, which she doesn't know. While cleaning, she draws a heart on the glass, which he sees when he presses the button, but she doesn't notice. He helps her and gets out. Then Ron comes out, telling her to be careful. He takes her with him, and Jian helps her. Ron tells her to be careful next time and leaves. They introduce themselves, and his friend Shin, who works in another department, joins them. After finishing her work, she goes home but notices a girl leaving Leon's house. She assumes she's Leon's girlfriend, especially since it's not the first girl she's seen leaving his house. He calls her, and she tells him to stay away from her. She accidentally drops her bag, revealing work-related items, which he notices, threatening to tell her father if she tells anyone. He accompanies her home because her father is alone for dinner. She's upset but keeps quiet and joins them for dinner. Meanwhile, Ron reminisces about memories with Young and wonders why he's thinking about her like this. The next day, she finds the janitors standing and annoyed about something. She asks why, and Shen tells her that one of them forgot food on the table, and it rotted, causing a bad smell. She decides to take action and cleanse the place, earning everyone's gratitude. The manager praises her for being consistent in her work every day, despite the bad smell, but she manages to handle it. He asks her how she can work in the cleaning department if she can't smell. She lies and says she can. He decides to test her. He continues to test her occasionally. Despite lying to them and being able to smell well, she manages to control herself. Once he puts a terrible smell on her clothes, and since she doesn't have other clothes, she's forced to wear them. All the employees are disgusted by her smell. However, she tries to keep herself together in front of them, pretending not to notice the odor. She goes out and finds that someone, probably Lee, is watching them. He is curious to know who is with her. He takes her to his place and gives her clothes. He takes her clothes and washes them at his place so her father won't find out. He stays to ask her questions. She thanks him for helping her. Meanwhile, Ryan finds his office dirty and repeatedly calls her to clean it. She talks to him while going downstairs to check on her brother, who's skipping classes and working. She falls to the ground, twisting her legs. He asks her if she's okay, forgetting that he's on the line with her. Ran worries about her and decides to go to her. That's all for today's video. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and check out our other selection of recaps. Take care.